Gero here for Umbra Games with a review of Risk of Rain, played on PlayStation 4 for the review, but also available on PC and PlayStation Vita. Another indie title released to PlayStation Network in 2016, with limited run games printing a physical run of copies on PS4, we get to see another formula take on the modern roguelike elements, this time mixed into a 2D side-scrolling platforming shooter. You and your local or online friends that play with you fill the tiny pixel shoes of the survivors of a space freighter that plunges into a remote planet. The survivors are forced to search for teleporters which take them from place to place, environment to environment in this strange world, before finding their ship and prepping it for launch. The roguelike games that are becoming more and more popular gauge your progression by your unlocking and accumulation of the game's power-ups, where the sole purpose of the game extends beyond finishing a final boss just once. You get one life for the most part, and if you die, your progress for that round is erased. All power-ups dropped, game over. In Risk of Rain, each run of the game is 6 levels long when completed, but the maps you play at each level are randomly selected from a choice of 2 and have a couple of varying layouts. While the goal of finding the teleporter may be simple, you begin each level in a random coordinate, and your exit teleporter can also appear in different places. Each map can be navigated walking left or right and by climbing or descending. Some maps have a definite flow where if you jump down you'll find yourself walking a loop or making a really long climb to get back to where you were. There are a couple levels that feature what seem to be very deliberate frustration points, namely on the Ancient Valley with some jumps that have to be timed perfectly just to keep going. Levels also contain hidden areas that are sometimes available, allowing you to find artifacts that can be chosen before playthrough starts that alter the game in different ways. Now you begin the game with access to only the commando character, but can unlock a dozen or so more by finding them in their level or completing various challenges. Each character has 4 abilities that can be used infinitely, but have a cooldown timer after use. My primary character I played in multiplayer was the Defender, with a short-range shotgun mapped to R2, a defensive stance blocking all damage from the front but limiting mobility with R1, a grenade launcher with L1, and a shield slam that knocks back enemies with L2. You begin each run with your character at level 1, and you gain levels by killing enemies and opening small containers that hold experience, with a level up increasing your character's maximum HP and damage output. The true key to character progression, though, is gathering the game's many items, gained from opening treasure chests that cost various amounts of cash, purchased from a choice of 3 items if you stumble across a shop, selected by a random generator for money at a question mark pod, or you can pay a shrine for not only the random chance of what you get, but also a random chance if you get anything. Power-ups include offensive bonuses, like having a chance to randomly launch a missile while firing your regular attack, the golden gun that makes you more powerful the more money you have, and an item that adds chain lightning to your attacks. Defensive power-ups include a localized barbed wire shield that hurts enemies that get near you, or a growing lightning ring that grows with every kill you make, damaging every enemy that's enclosed in it. There are also various types of support items that make enemies drop edible meat cubes for health, or make your cash grow by the second. Once you find the teleporter in a level, you activate it, and then have to survive for 90 seconds while it warms up, and a barrage of enemies will continuously storm your location. At this time, the boss will also appear, and as the levels are, the bosses are also randomly selected from a pool of 10 or so. Bosses also have unique drops you can use for power-ups as well. Once the boss is down, you have to clean up the remaining enemies, and then you can use the teleporter. Now also, as the roguelike often does, the entire path of your game as far as success rate is pretty highly affected by how good a drops you get. The good news with Risk of Rain is all items are on the positive side of neutral, making you more hardy or powerful. Now there are a few that do less than others, but unlike Binding of Isaac, you don't have to be worried about negative ones. Balance out, you sticking around a level and just grinding on enemies for cash to open everything in the level is a timed difficulty increase you can see in the upper right corner. Every 5 minutes the timer will reach a new threshold, increasing the difficulty by popping in more and more and elite monsters, generally marked by their color. First time White Gravy and I were successful in beating the game, we ended up running on the hardest difficulty for quite some time. As when you get to the 5th stage of the 6th on a run, you can choose to have the teleporter take you to previous stages to play them again, help you gather more items if needed before taking on the final 3-phase boss. So there's a lot of balancing to think about, pacing yourself with the difficulty, and not wasting money that's turned into experience points as you exit a level, starting you back with $0 every time. In order to give items a chance to drop in your game, you allegedly have to perform specific actions or complete challenges, criteria of which can be uncovered by accessing the item log. Felt a lot of the time though like we saw some of the items dropped before they were officially unlocked. Not sure if that was intentional or not. It's actually pretty fun though. In the log, they treat everything like it's a shipping manifest, the cargo that rained all over the planet when the space freighter went down. One disappointing issue myself and everyone I know that's played this game so far are random bouts of the game not saving the unlocks. After our first session of 2 to 3 hours with tons of initial stuff unlocked, I went back in to see that a character or two I had obtained and played were missing. My time spent playing wasn't accurate, and my favorite usable item was one I hadn't ever really touched. In a game that's supposed to drive itself by multiple playthrough collection, it's a pretty big letdown, and it immediately stopped me from trying to open everything. I spent most of my time with Risk of Rain playing online with White Gravy. I got Yellow King started in a local co-op match too, who then purchased the game and played it with others as well. We all reported at one time or another while playing online that we wouldn't be in the same game anymore. White Gravy, in my first successful run, it happened in the last stage, as his avatar was just running around shooting while we were trying to go to the end boss. I tell him I'm standing right here, and he said he was in the same spot too, but he didn't see me. In the final fight, in his game, I died, and he was left to finish the boss solo, while an AI version of him helped take me to victory. Yellow King stated he and his brother were in completely different stages entirely during a couple of matches, so don't be surprised if some weird online stuff occurs. Graphically, as you can see, the game really isn't much. This is compensated for in the accompanying score, hitting some great retro feels and also extremely layered and complex. The items were pretty fun to discover and use. In the match we won, we were super powerful, and it was the most fun we admitted to having in the game. The random level picking and placement gives the game a bit more longevity, but realizing it was more gear than skill helping us win in a 2D shooter stifled that desire to keep playing a bit. You can't play up to 4 players online or crammed onto one screen locally in co-op, but expect some connectivity issues. There's definitely some fun to be had here. Rated as a roguelike, Risk of Rain lands at a 58 out of 100, with 50 being an average game. This is Gero for Umbra Games. Thanks for watching. As always, please feel free to subscribe for more videos, or follow me on Twitter @UmbraGames for notifications.